Hey, let's talk ID. I am not at all comfortable having a bunch of ID like credit cards and bank cards on my phone to scan. I'm
Same.
assuming you are cut from a similar cloth.
Same. We are paranoid.
Yeah.
We feel if someone steals our phone, they already have enough information and photos and everything else as it is. Why give them our entire life and run amok with our credit cards?
If you're comfortable with it and you live in Ontario, you're going to have some choices here because Ontario's digital IDs will be launching later this year. The new government-issued IDs will live entirely on your device. So the good news is if you hate going to Service Ontario, which is always a pleasant experience in normal times, you don't have to go because you can just renew that way. But then again, everything's on your phone, so if you're paranoid like Dina and I, it's an issue. But just to lay it out, you can use your digital ID to check in for virtual medical appointments, apply for government assistance like CERB, EI, access vaccination records, which a lot of people might be doing over the next 12 months. You can also open a bank account. You can use it to obtain birth, marriage, and death certificates, says the government. So there's, listen, if you can't get to a Service Ontario, if you can't stand in that lovely line and wait for all your stuff, there's some real benefits to this. No way am I having that much personal information on my phone. I'm not doing it.
It's terrifying. It's a hard no for me. In fact, yesterday, so we've been, staying late with rehearsals, repoing on set and everything. Said, you and I ventured out for a quick jaunt for a snack. Somebody had given me a gift certificate to which I needed to download the app to redeem said certificate. So when they're like, I was so proud of myself that I got through that part.
She was very proud of herself.
When they say go to pay and there's like the little scan code, I went to pay on the actual credit card scanner and I'm like, why isn't this working?
The buttons. Dina took her phone and tried to scan her phone on the buttons of the pad. And she did it for 7 straight minutes.
That's right. And I'm like, why isn't this thing taking? So I am proud of the fact that I like to see my bank tellers face to face. I know their names. I like to kick it old school. And I think that we shouldn't be so heavily reliant on our phones. You know who disagrees with us? One Devo Brown. Devo, you're fine with this. And so is Steph.
My first question is, how many times have either one of you lost your phone?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with my phone. I lost my Bluetooth earbuds yesterday, which pissed me off. That sucks. So if I lost anything more important, I'd lose my mind.
Where are you going with this, Devo?
Because you can't navigate your way through technology. You can't be mad at it or scared at it. You have to learn. We've been trying to teach you over many years. Because you take the phone and put it on the pin pad, that's not our fault.
No.
This is amazing. This is everything in one spot. Is way more convenient. You just mentioned, Sid, you get rid of the lineups.
Awful.
Like,
just
you're
awful.
done. You're done with that. And how many times have you?
Terrible.
Like, I did this 2 days ago. I was like, oh, low fuel, driving home. Used my phone, paid for gas. Boom, done. Didn't have the credit card with me, but I had it on my phone. Easy. I go to the market, bang, bang, bang. I don't have to touch anything. My hands are clean.
I think Steph's on Team Devo.
Steph, let's discuss.
Oh, absolutely. I'm on Team Devo. I'm on Team Devo 100%.
Yes,
and Frankie brought up a good point. How many times do you lose your wallet?
Yeah.
Like, I've lost my wallet several times. I've left my wallet at home. So to have my cards on my phone is amazing. And to be honest, I still have my red and white health card because I have been I've been avoiding standing in those lines for like to keep the phone away. So I would definitely use the phone for sure. I think that it's a great help. It'll keep me out of the lines, and I'm okay with that.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't do it. Don't do it.
If you ain't going to lose your eggs, you're okay.
But you know she's going to lose her eggs.
She's going to lose her eggs.
That's the problem.
I'm going to lose my eggs, and I like eggs.
This is another example of gradualism towards the global inevitable introduction and subsequent mandation of the MOTB and the so-called securities and conveniences that it will bring to the lives of those that willingly accept it. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors be unto Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai Bahashim, Baruch Kodash, Double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth, as well as men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the sealand of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ratazah. This lesson is edifying and informative. Again, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. And who is the he referring to? Esau, Edom, the so-called Caucasian race, beginning with their hegemony, their banking families, their Rothschilds, their Gettys, their DuPonts, their Lees, their McDonald's, who, according to the book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4, are the board of wickedness. So they are the wicked. And that is the he that it is referring to, causeth all people on the earth except for the elect of the nation of Israel, whom Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua will keep from the hour of temptation. The word temptation means to try out through the idea of piercing. And so Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua will keep his elect from the hour of trial through the idea of piercing. And Esau Edom will come down like a madman, sparing none, when he is about to enforce his new Lord agenda, which is to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That is the goal of their new world order. It reads on to say, both small and great, so from a newborn baby to an elderly individual in society, rich and poor, whether they be rich or whether they be poor, free and bond, whether they be in the jail systems or whether they be free, to receive a mark. Now, when we go into that word mark, the word there is karagma, which means a stamp or imprinted mark, which is the MOTB, okay, mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, also known as the NFC chip implant, also known as the biochip implant in Europe, also known as the brain chip implant, okay? And for the record, to you two algorithms out there, because we know you Edomites are watching, this is not medical misinformation. This is simply edification as concerning the biblical prophecies of the scriptures in regards to the mark of the beast. Okay? And this lesson is more so for those of you that are new to the faith, because those of us that's been around already know the prophecy concerning the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, also known as the NFC chip implant, also known as the biochip, brain chip implant, so on and so forth. Okay? Reason to say to receive a mark. And so we know that the root word of mark is karagma. But what is the root word of karagma? The root word of karagma is charax, which means a palisade or stake, which will be the syringe mechanism that they will use to puncture the flesh of an individual to then insert that karagma. Okay, that stamp, the chip. And the root word of charax is grapho. Grapho means of the writings, filled with the writings, filled with the records. Because within the RFID microchip is where people's sensitive, I'll say it like that, information will be stored, will be kept, will be recorded, such as their financial information and their you know what information. Okay? That's why they're pushing it gradually as a form of security and convenience, because they're going to say, well, look, if you don't want to walk around with your car keys or your office keys or your home keys in your pockets, it's going to be in that chip. Your ID cards are going to be in that chip. Your bank cards are going to be in the chip. And they're going to push it as being a so-called form of convenience to persuade the minds of the global public into desiring to go out there and take it willingly. Because Esau Edom is a very subtle serpent. He's very cunning. Okay? In their right hand or in their foreheads, in front of their brains. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So no man will be able to buy or sell unless they have that mark. And a good example of that is the movie Demolition Man, which if you brothers and few sisters have not seen that movie before, I would urge you to watch it, because it's a good example of where society is heading. A society in where Esau Edom will pretty much centralize all things and have control over all things in a fascist, totalitarianistic fashion, communistic fashion. Okay? I always get that word totalitarian twisted up sometimes with my tongue, the accent, but I digress. Reading on, it says, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast. Now the beast is the pagan Roman Empire, which came back in the form of NATO and the EU, with America being an extension of that empire. That is the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now 666 in the Greek is chi xi stigma. Some brothers may say chi sty stigma, but chi and xi both means X mark. And I'd often make this reference that there's a saying in the world, X marks the spot. You look at certain medical movies, before a nurse or a doctor punctures the flesh of an individual with a syringe, they would spray an X or a circle with a dot in the middle on their flesh, and they will label it as being the spot of puncture. It will be the same thing that they'll do in this reality when they puncture the flesh of individuals with that syringe to then insert that charagma, that mark. Okay? And stigma means stamp, which is the chip. And figuratively, according to the online etymology dictionary, stigma means a mark of disgrace. So those that take that mark, they're taking the mark of disgrace that will slay them for destruction by way of thermonuclear fire, because they will bear the indignation of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, as it is written in the book of Revelation, the 14th chapter, the 9th verse on down, which Lord is willing we'll get as we go down further in this lesson. Now, 666 also references excuse me, he was stammering lips, right? References Esau Edom's UPC code, which stands for his Universal Product Code, okay? Which is something that they use to track products across the globe, which can be found in your local stores, your supermarkets, and these different places. And now they're transitioning to what is known as a centralized blockchain, which is a centralized network that will allow them to oversee all manners of transactions in one central network, which will allow them to utilize the chip. Because remember, they want to be able to see all things that people do on the earth, because they want to be like the Most High, which that's not going to happen. The Most High will allow them to get only so far, because the Lord said in the fullness of their sufficiency they shall be in what? Straits. This means position of difficulties. Okay? So now that we have understanding of what the mark and 666 is, which they're basically a representation of the same thing, the chip, the mark of the beast, let's read the judgment here in the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 8, really from 9 on down. But this is Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, and the message to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, is that when they mandate the chip, the mark of the beast, don't take it. Okay? Because if you do, this is the judgment. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, so if any man worship the beast and his image, which the image of the beast is a system of the beast, which comprises this man's medical infrastructure, his financial infrastructure, his architectural infrastructure, all things that comprises this man's system, his laws, all these things are the image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, which indignation means righteous anger. Okay? And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. The Lamb is our Lord Yahushua. So those that worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. In other words, they're going to receive the full brute judgments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua by way of thermonuclear fire for receiving that mark in their forehead or in their hand, and for worshiping the beast and his image. And he shall be tormented with fire from those warheads, those nuclear missiles, and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Because you see, a lot of people really believe that the things that are written within the scriptures are far-fetched. They think it's some kind of fairy tale. They think it's some kind of, something that's not going to happen. But these things will happen because they are the words of Yahweh. Okay? B'Shem Yahushai. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, meaning for a period of time, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So that is the judgment for those that receive that mark. And only the elect of the nation of Israel will be preserved. Lord's willing, I pray that I am of the elect, as well as you brothers and a few sisters out there that are of the hopeful elect. Okay? Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, okay, and the faith of Yahushai. So with that, I'll conclude the lesson here. Lord's willing, was edifying, straight to the point. With that, I say shalom until the next.